Hello YouTube! In this tutorial we will learn how to play with real objects that we are going to create using dedicated function. So here in the body section we will work with actual objects, and here in a head section we are going to separate our function that will be responsible for creation of general structure for those objects. Let me type that. So function, let's say, oops, I need to type that into script. Let me fix this arrangement a little bit. Right, so here we will have function person, okay, and those persons need to have some general characteristics, okay, and based on those general characteristics we will create concrete objects down there in a body section. Okay, so those things will be name of the person, last name of the person, and let's say social security number. Okay, and here's the situation. Every time when you are constructing this kind of database or table, every time you need to use this dot and then name, last name and SSN. Let me type that. This name. So this thing here will be actual thing in imaginary database. Okay, but how to get real stuff into this kind of field? Well, we are going to grab this perimeter when we are later using these things. So this is just the structure, okay, the structure of our kind of emulation of database, and down there we will play around with concrete stuff. So this name in our imaginary database, we will get it when we grab actual thing from function, when we are going to use it. Okay, the same thing for every other field, and we will always use this, then, this, that, and so on. So last name and this dot SSN from actual usage of function. So just remember then this thing and this thing and this thing, this is the same stuff. It will be related to same object in our actual usage down there. Okay, so this is like, how to explain this? This is weird. This is general representation of all concrete objects down there that we are going to create. Okay, and this thing is like a database, imaginary database. Right, so now we have our structure here. So down there in a body section, in a script section, we need to create actual object based on this structure using this function. So let me type that. Var, for example, object Michael, and object Michael will hold all these individual characteristics. So this is the reason why I'm using here lowercase. So this is just an object that will hold concrete stuff. Okay, so var Michael equals, and now we need to use new what? New person. So this is like creation of that concrete row in our imaginary database. So new person with characteristics. So actual name we need to put down there, Michael. So now here we will state concrete stuff, and this is just object that will be common for all these things when we are going to call them. So this is like a generic hand that can get into all these individual stuff that we are going to mention here. Michael and last name Smith, and social security number, I don't know, 505, 444, who cares. So now we have created one object with specific characteristic, and we need to state those characteristics based on this general structure here. Why is that important? Because later in operations, when we want to extract all those individual things, we are always referred to this object. like a common ground, like a common box, okay? So let me write. So let's create another object, another person, Samantha. And we need to call new again, new what? New person structure or database simulation with the actual concrete stuff, respecting the order we are creating them. We have, how to say this? Respecting order of parameters here. So Samantha and actual last name Fox and social security number 101777. Who cares? Right, so now we have two objects based on the same structure for any objects we are going to create, and we can create thousands of them here. Right, so why this thing is important? Well, as I said, this is like a rows in a database, and this is database structure. So if we have that situation, that means that using any of these objects here, think about them as handles, we can access those individual parameters. For example, for Michael, we want to print these things. So now what we need to do is document, write which object is, well, object of our interest, Michael in this case, and how to access those individual parameters from like our general structure here. Well, using dot, and then what we want to grab, name. We are grabbing a name, and let me run this script. I think that everything will be fine. There you go, Michael. So using same analogy, we can grab all other things for Michael. So Michael is like general handle for these individual data here. So let me copy paste this to save a little bit of time. And now we are grabbing a name, and then down there we are grabbing last name, and what was it? Yeah, social security number. So if you do know a little bit of MySQL, this will be understandable to you, because there is a lot of similarities between table and database and rows. And even if you don't know databases, if you have worked with Excel tables, this will be like a row, and this will be like a real table, real file, and these things here, they're like columns, okay? So these things are like columns when you're entering your data, and these things are like individual rows. So there must be some way of accessing those individual fields. Well, in JavaScript, when we are working with objects, we are just saying from this row dot grab this column, this row grab that column, this row grab another column, and so on. So row dot column, something like that. I don't know how you think basically, but that's it. And right, there you go. Of course, I have packed everything here because I'm not using a plus br here. So yeah, you basically know what I'm trying to do here. So let me just copy paste that really quickly down there, and right, save, and there you go. So the same approach for Samantha. Samantha is just object with concrete characteristics. So let me just save a little bit of time, and I will copy paste this down there, and then we want to grab everything for Samantha. So let's change that here. So through this Samantha object, we are grabbing individual stuff dedicated for that object. But you know, there must be a way how to access those individual things in our imaginary databases. So that's like a creation of objects. These are objects, and these are known stuff, concrete stuff from reality. So these are like ways how to talk with our database here, something like that. Where I was, yeah, I need to refresh, and there you go, Samantha, Fox, and blah blah blah. Right, so you can practice this a little bit. Do the same stuff, okay? Do the same stuff, and just remember then this thing represents the same object here, and you are basically, when you're grabbing parameters from reality, you are putting it here through here. So just imagine that you have cable going from here to here, okay? And that's pretty much it. Now, To understand this, you need to understand how functions are working, but I'm sure that you know up till now how functions are working. Well, at least up till now in this playlist, okay. Right, and another thing is when you're creating a new object, you need to say new, that specific object, and then you are stating individual characteristics, so respecting the order of parameters up here. Right, I don't know, maybe I was confusing, but object-oriented programming is confusing when you're starting it. I don't have any other simpler idea how to describe this. This is a very simple way, and honestly I don't know how to approach this better. Well, at least in this moment. So practice with one object if you're confused, with one object, and with maybe two or at least one parameter here. So if you're going to practice with one parameter, forget about these two, forget about last name and SSN, okay? And then down there you just want to print like things for Michael. Let me simplify this. And you're just stating name here, so you don't need the last name and social security number. And this is so simple, there is no simpler than this. So save, refresh, and there you go. So we are calling a function, we need to pass parameter that function. When that function parameter is grabbed, it's put here, and then you can access that thing through object, stating dot, and a name for that parameter, for that thing. Well, I don't know how to better explain this, but you need to practice, okay? So, right. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up more than 10 minutes, and thank you for watching. And also in next tutorial we'll talk about more about objects, because they are very important to understand, not just for JavaScript but also for many other languages. Thank you for watching, see you there.